Wrong. E is.
For you all, I welcome you all to NEET World channel.
If you
The mathematics fact.
A is outer membrane, B is inner membrane.
So,
Stay here.
no,
So this is
intermediate exams are fast approaching,
option.
which is starting from first week of
Next.
So, when it comes to mathematics,
Here he has given the
difficulty when it comes to very short answer questions. Students
and cilia, microtubule,
manage long
flagella and cilia. If you
questions are repetitive, and also when it comes to very short answer questions, short answer questions, students are able to manage. But when it comes to very short answer questions, students are losing marks, maybe due to what, lack of practice, or maybe due to lack of conceptual clarity. So, in this series, we will be solving very short answer questions of all the chapter, be it second part A or second part B, that is +2 part A and +2 part B of mathematics syllabus, right. So, when it comes to very short answer questions, we will go chapter wise. So, we are starting today with complex numbers. So, when I talk complex numbers, when I talk about complex numbers, the weightage of this chapter is what, 8 marks. Out of the total, you are having 8 marks, that is more than 10% of the weightage. So, when it comes to complex numbers, out of this 8 marks, out of this 8 marks,
core of the flagella, you will call it as what, ma?
4 marks,
When you
which is a almost,
section,
not almost, exactly 50% is coming from very short answer questions. So, highly important this chapter when it comes to very short answer questions.
connecting this central sheet,
This is very short answer questions. You are getting 2 questions, each of 2 marks. And when it comes to very short
and each radial
questions, you are getting 1 question, which is of 4 marks. So, there is 1 question,
doublet. So, identify the
question.
true central microtubule,
The question numbers would be, which you must observe, which you must have observed when you looked at the
radial spokes connecting to the
and question
microtubules. Peripheral microtubule is what? A doublet.
answer. And when it comes to short answer question, it may be 45, 46 or 47. Okay. So,
Very, very important, both in the form of EAP set questions or NEET, they have asked it.
why this chapter has come and why you should study this chapter, what is the significance of this chapter. Just because it is in the syllabus, you are studying, but you should understand the significance of studying this chapter and understand this chapter has come into existence. Okay. So, then you will be able to connect, each and every chapter, and that makes your life easy in the examination. So, managing time is one thing, but knowing the concepts is very much important. When the concepts are clear, managing time becomes easy, right. So, when it comes to complex numbers, what are these complex numbers? So, I can say complex numbers are those numbers which we do not use routinely, or we do not use daily for daily use. Suppose I say how many mangoes you ate today, you ate today, you will say you had 3 mangoes or 3.5 mangoes, something like that. We use natural numbers or in fractional numbers, something like that, but you do not use complex numbers. That is why they have given the name complex number. It does not mean that the topic is complex. Okay. The topic is very simple topic. Okay. So, we will simplify the topic. Now,
Here if you see the structure of a chromosome,
okay, they indicate direction of movement. Direction of movement, whether be it forward or backward. Suppose I want to move forward or backward, we use
just called
numbers apart from complex numbers. That is
the attachment of
natural
fibers and
numbers
2 chromatids. Each chromatid has 2 arms.
or to the top or to the left or to the bottom, that is downward movement. Okay. Then we need complex numbers. What is that? When I said right, then top and to the left and bottom, which is nothing but a rotational motion. So, for rotational motion,
How many centromere?
numbers. So, for linear motion, or linear movement, I can say
You see which of the following
numbers.
to the
But
centromere is 1.
rotation, but for rotation we are using complex numbers. To denote this rotation, we want complex numbers, right. This is the significance of complex numbers. Got it? So, That is why we are studying complex numbers. Now, we will learn about the genesis of complex numbers. What do you mean by genesis? That is, why is the need for complex numbers?
You will see different shapes.
That is, application of complex numbers is
Shapes of the chromosome
you can see in the picture. See here, this is denoting rotation. I will tell you what is I1, I2, I3, I4, all these things. Now, see here, in the real plane,
you have
in the real plane, if it has to move forward, it is moving like this. If it has to move towards this side, it is moving in the negative direction. If it has to move this side, it is moving 5 units towards the right, that is positive direction. But if it has to move to the top, if it has to move to the bottom or to its right, to its left, we need complex numbers. That is denoted by this picture. See here, I0, I1, I2, I3. What do you mean by I? That is iota. See how this iota come into being. I will tell you when I tell you about genesis of complex numbers. See here, this is what I was telling, the rotational motion. Rotational motion, to indicate that rotational motion,
if you see
complex numbers,
chromosome, here you
one of the
two equals of the chromosome, and here
okay, rotation. See, you must have seen rotation of what? Rotation of the earth around its axis. Okay. Next is, I told genesis.
Primary constriction, and this is the secondary constriction. To the centrome,
in a
have two disc shaped structures. What are they? Kinetochore. If you see submetastasis,
the very short answer questions, so that it serves as a revision for you. It comes to the entire chapter. Genesis of complex numbers. Okay. So in your lower classes, you must have studied something called Sridhara's formula. In the Sridhara's formula,
and
something called discriminant, that is
very much small arm on the other side, where you will see
b square
part of
4ac. If it is
the long arm, the short and long
b square minus 4
in two types of chromosomes.
minus 4ac, if it is less than 0. If it was greater than 0, you learned that there are two roots and distinct roots. Two roots and distinct means different roots. Two roots and distinct roots. Okay. Equal to 0, two roots but equal and same roots. Suppose these are distinct root, means one is one of the roots is 2, means another root may be 1. Here what? Real and equal roots. That is, I can say equal root means one of the roots is 2, means another root will also be 2. Okay, it will not be minus 2. It should be 2, then another root will also be 2. If it is 3, it is 3. If it is minus 1, another root will be minus 1. But when we saw that it is less than 0, what we studied? That the roots do not
Answer.
Or we said that it has imaginary roots. We left it, ended it there.
Given, what does A, B
First two types, but this third type,
the given figure of a chromosome?
so this has imaginary roots. Imaginary roots. Okay. This is nothing but the topic, or this is nothing but the
correct option. So with this we covered
two
diagram based questions from the cell, the unit of
Number
life.
came to be.
Types of questions like match the following.
Right. Suppose I give you an example. Suppose I write here x square plus 1 is equal to 0. X plus 1 is equal to
Dealt from 15th February 2025 in our NEET World channel. Thank you.
I think you can give 0. Okay, you can give
లేదు నాకు నచ్చలేదు మళ్ళీ తీసుకుంటా నేను ఇది అంటే మీరు వర్క్ చేసుకోండి కానీ
will be positive. So that means
ఎర్రర్స్ అని
become 1 plus needed a quantity or a number
మనకు తెలియదు
that satisfied. We named that as I. Okay, we named that as I. Here I is equal to iota. This I we call it as iota. Okay, the value is equal to root of minus 1. Root of minus 1.
లేదు మ్యామ్ దాంట్లో ఎన్ని బూతులు ఉన్నాయో నాకు తెలుసు సార్ హ్యాండ్ రైటింగ్ అదంతా ఓకే కదా మ్యామ్ బట్ నేను సాటిస్ఫై కాలేదు నేను ఇంకొకటి తీసుకుంటా డన్ సార్ ఇట్ కేమ్ బట్ ఐఎమ్ నాట్ సాటిస్ఫై
Okay. Otherwise, if you
Satisfaction and all it will.
you will not get the value.
First video, no. I'll take one more, sir. They can
Where?
Next.
be
Going forward, see
What you
complex number
stuck in between.
Cartesian plane. If a
video clarity is really good.
axis, see here,
No, that is very common. It happens. Okay, fine. You take.
how do you represent a complex number? We represent a complex number by alphabet Z and we write it A plus IB.
Ah, they
B, A is real part and B is called imaginary. And question,
Yes.
okay, it was given by math.
కొంచెం
Another way to represent complex number is writing it as an ordered. Suppose I write Z is equal to A comma B.
అంటే మన
The first number I write, that is nothing but real part, and second number which I write, that will be imaginary part. Kind of representation was given by Hamilton. Okay, it was given by mathematician Hamilton. Either way you can represent in question also,
కానీ ఆర్గనైజ్
you can ask, but they are one and same. Okay, don't get confused.
అని అనిపించింది.
You can convert it to either form and get
కంటిన్యూ విత్
given by mathematician Hamilton. All right. Now,
20 minutes.
when I represent it in a
ఎంత ఎన్ని
Cartesian plane, this is what Cartesian plane. Real part will be written where? Where real part will be written in the x-axis and imaginary part will be written in the. So here, complex number is real part is 1 and imaginary part here is taken as I. So, okay, suppose I am showing only what? Real part, positive direction of x-axis. So, the value will be only equal to 1. Suppose I am showing only imaginary part. Okay, so the value will be only equal to I. But if there is an inclination, if there is an inclined line, if I am showing an inclined line, that will have both real part as well as imaginary part. That is represented by I plus 1. Similarly, here when you come to second quadrant, it will become I, because here what it is, here x-axis is negative, here negative.
కాదురా అది ప్రాక్టీస్ ఉంది కదా ఈ వీడియోదే నేను చేసుకుంటా నో ప్రాబ్లం.
Next, how do you represent in polar form or argand plane?
కనిపించింది.
So you represent it here, theta is the value and you get it as cos theta minus r sin theta. Suppose here P is a point, you get it as x comma y, which can be represented as x plus iy. Okay, same thing here can be represented as r into cos theta plus sin theta. That's it. Okay, when theta, that's it. This is polar form. This is what? Polar form. Okay. Now, this is the basics. Okay. Now, this is when we represent argument of z in y-axis will be tan inverse of, not tan inverse, tan of p by a, tan of b by a plus pi. This is tan of b by a minus.
గుడ్ రా.
Okay, this is when it comes to argument. But when you look at the real axis, that is when you look at the real part, argument of z will be equal to 0. Here argument of z will be equal to pi, that is 0 and pi. When you talk about argument, when it comes to y axis, in the positive direction of y axis, it will be plus pi by 2 minus pi by 2. Remember this. Right. Now, we will learn basics. We'll learn basics. So, first thing we will study about the
హలో స్టూడెంట్స్, దిస్ ఇస్ యువర్
something called
your
sum, difference, multiplication and division.
diagram based questions from the chapter Cell the Unit of Life. So
Algebra,
in this
complex numbers.
slide CRT.
So, friends, when we talk about algebra of complex numbers, first is, suppose there are two complex numbers, z1 is equal to a plus ib Z2 is equal to C plus ID, Z1 is equal to A plus IB, Z1 is equal to A plus IB, Z2 is equal to C plus ID. So, addition Z1 plus Z2, how to do it? What you do is, you add real part with real part, you add imaginary part with imaginary part. So, that becomes what? A plus C, this will be equal to A plus C, imaginary. Okay, same thing follows for subtraction. You subtract real part with real part and imaginary part with imaginary part. So, this becomes A minus C plus I into B minus D. So, when it comes to multiplication, you can take them separately and multiply normally what you do, or you can remember this formula. Okay, I want all of you to remember the formula, because directly you can solve the question, and anyways MSET it will solve the what? You can solve the questions fastly and it will save time. So, it is AC minus BD, okay, plus into I into AD plus BC. This is for multiplication. So, division Z1 by Z2. So, this will become AC plus BD, okay, plus I into BC minus AD divided by plus D square, here also divided by C square plus D square. This is about algebra of complex numbers, almost natural number. Now, most important concepts when it comes to this chapter. So, when I said very short answer questions, the questions that they can ask is, they can give a complex number and they can ask you to express it in the form of A plus IB. Another question that they can ask is, they can ask conjugate of a complex number, they can ask multiplicative inverse, they can ask multiplicative inverse, and also ask, they can also ask modulus amplitude form. Okay.
The first diagram from the
Questions that they can ask in shorter questions, and sometimes they will also ask, they will give a complex number z is equal to something, and they will ask you to prove this equation is equal to 0, something like that. That usually they ask in short answer question for 4 marks. Sometimes they do ask some simple questions where you have to prove LHS is equal to 0, something like that. That is also asked. Okay. Now, we will learn what is conjugate complex number, what is multiplicative inverse of a complex number. So, first then what is multiplicative inverse? Okay, multiplicative inverse. I told in the beginning of the class itself, I told we represent complex numbers by what? By the letter Z. By the
single egg of or, and smallest is the
it is nothing, Z to the power of minus 1 by minus 1. Okay, that can be written as 1 by Z. Okay, this Z inverse is nothing but multiplicative inverse. This is
from
multiplicative inverse. Suppose I write Z is equal to A plus IB. Okay, for us, if you have to find multiplicative inverse, there is a simple formula which you can remember very simply. See here friends, Z inverse will be, or 1 by Z will be equal to, in, I will write it in the form ordered pair, A square plus B square, comma, again here A square plus B square. In the numerator here it will be A, here it will be minus B. Okay, it will be B. Okay, while when we solve the
B
question,
shows amoeboid.
how
Yes,
used
cells are showing amoeboid
numbers. I will also inform you
of
or
and
what? Tell you about some
so this is also
inverse. What do you mean by additive inverse? This is also very simple. Additive inverse means what
see the
numbers that they have given in additive inverse, just change their sign. Suppose the given value of Z, that is complex number is A comma B. Additive inverse, it will become what friends? Minus A comma minus.
and y.
So, this will become additive inverse, it will become minus A comma minus B. Suppose the given number is 2 comma minus 3. Additive inverse will be minus 2. Here minus 3 will become plus 3. That's all. Just have to change the sign. That's it. Next, we will learn about conjugate. What do you mean by conjugate of a complex number? So, this is
Next,
okay. Conjugate we represent it by Z bar. If Z is the complex number, Z bar is called conjugate. Suppose Z is given by A plus IB, then Z bar will be equal to A minus IB. Okay. Here
4 types of cell with
when you talk about
like eukaryotic cell, PPLO, virus, which of the
students will do the mistake. Here you
of course
understand that when
C is
conjugate,
C is virus, this is wrong.
the imaginary part, wherever the imaginary part is there, the
This is the
plus in Z bar it will become minus. Only the imaginary part,
we clearly
that part you have to change the sign. Suppose it is plus, then it will become minus. Suppose it is minus, it will become plus. But real part, nothing changes.
and double membrane bound.
Suppose I will give an example. Z is equal to 2 minus 3i. Okay, so Z bar will be 2 plus 3i, just like that. You have to only the imaginary part. Remember this, friends. Next, modulus amplitude form.
4 sites. There are ribosomes present in a plant cell.
Modulus of Z, that is given by, suppose complex number is A plus IB only, then modulus is given by root of A square plus B square. Root of A square plus B square. Okay. Now, modulus amplitude form, how do you represent that? Suppose theta belongs to real number, okay, then Z is equal to A plus IB can be written as R into cos theta plus sin theta. Okay. Here R is nothing but the modulus of the complex number given by root of A square plus B square. Okay, root of A
You will see
B square.
80
Theta is
ribosomes.
is given by cos theta is given by A by
Plant.
cos theta is given by A by A square plus B square. Okay, A by A square plus B square, and sin theta is given by B by A square plus B square. Next, when I talk about tan theta,
Organelles include
nothing but B by A. Tan theta will be B by A, that is sin theta by cos theta will give you A square plus B square, A square plus B square will cancel, you will get it as B by A.
all
Finding the in which quadrant it lies, that itself is called finding the amplitude
plasmic bridges which connects the two plant
of
cells
the complex.
which traverse
Another type of question they will ask is, they will ask you to find the square root.
and plasma membrane of
Suppose see here, friends, if Z is equal to
cytoplasmic streaming and organelle movement. Keep in
can be written as A plus IB,
mind, we will solve few questions which are asked based on plant cell.
the bracket I will write it as an ordered pair. So, one big
If you see here, the diagram of a plant
to the numerator
given, select the option with correct identification, one of
plus B
it. If you
by 2, okay, minus, this is minus should come outside, minus A,
you will
okay,
so over the endoplasmic reticulum.
okay, this will be plus A, okay, this will be plus A, plus I into
Lipids and steroid
square root of A square plus B square by 2 and minus A, okay, and minus A,
stop
this is the formula. But here
covered
plus, all of you observe, friends, here I wrote plus, here it will be plus if this value of B is greater than 0. If B is positive,
covered by a single membrane layer that
B is negative, if B is negative, the formula remains the same, instead of plus it will be minus, okay. If B is positive,
because
this one, if B
foldings of the inner membrane you will see only in the mitochondria, not in the chloroplast. Option
all the basics that you need to solve the questions. I hope the basics are clear. So, we discussed about conjugate, multiplicative inverse, additive,
plant
and
very
about to find the square root. We discussed about amplitude modulus form, what is modulus, okay, what is amplitude, what is the value of sin theta, and what is the use of finding tan theta, all these things. So, having learned this, we will solve the questions one by one now. That is asked in the last 5 years. Okay, we will solve the last 5 years PYQs. we will solve the last 5 years PYQ. So,
in the
all
given
when you look at the question, pause it, solve the question by yourself and then look
First to
at answer. Okay. In the comment section, you can write down
here
number and how many, and you can write the answer or how many questions you got it correct or wrong. Okay.
might
Where you are getting it wrong and not repeat those mistakes. So, friends, let us look at the first question. They are asking us
right answer. Good. Next,
12i. Okay. Minus 5 plus 12i, and this was asked in.
one cell. The outer
Okay. So,
cell will be cell wall, we know it, whereas the limiting boundary of an animal cell
is equal to minus 5 plus 12i. I told you whenever
plasma membrane
to find the square root, you have to look at the value of b, whether the value of b is positive or negative. Here it is given as,
found organelles are centrioles.
so b here is positive as 12 is greater than 0. So, here the formula will become,
Apparatus
will be equal to, friends, plus or minus
chromosomes
a square plus b square by 2 plus a. Okay. Now, plus I. Why plus I? Because b is greater than 0, positive. Now, this will become again square root of a square plus b square by 2. This will be minus a.
larger subunit
Got it?
is 6
So solve
is
Now, try to solve the
40 and
so
third.
value of b,
Sing-
what the value of b as positive value. So, this will be,
Okay.
so this will be what? Here it will be plus, here it will be plus. Now, just what we have to do? For this formula, you just put the value. What is the value of a here? A is minus 5,
Yes.
b is
And
plus 12. So, if I put the values here, plus or minus, so this will become square root of a is what? Minus 5 square, I can write it as 25, b square I can write it as 144, okay, plus a is minus 5, this will be divided by 2, this divided by 2 should
A is plasma membrane, correct?
be full, plus I into square root of again within that square root 25 plus 144 divided by 2 minus a. What is minus a? Is minus of minus 5, because a is minus 5. So, this will become, friends, plus or minus
Option with correct identification along with the function and feature he is asking, right? So, P is Golgi
actually this should be see here, friend, this total it should be divided by 2, this totally should be divided by 2,
is where
should be divided by 2, here also this totally should be divided by 2. So, this will become 169, okay, 169 minus 5, let me correct it. Yeah, the formula is only the numerator will have square root here inside, that you correct it.
only in the animal cell. Then how cell division takes place in a plant cell? It is through microtubule.
Okay, now we can solve it. 169 square root of 169 by 2 minus 5. Here it is plus I into square root of 169 by 2 plus 5. Minus of minus is plus 5. Friends, this will be, so this will be
So, here he has given few cell organelles
one.
and he is asking to find out those organelles which are
Should be plus a, should be minus a. That's it. Now you solve it. I think here also I have to correct it. So, the formula here is square root is only for root of a square plus b square, I mean the inner square root. Yeah, the inner square root is only for this one, this will be by 2, this will be by 2. Okay. So, based on that, this is a very simple question. You put the values.
What are those two?
So, this will be plus or minus root of 169 is 13. So, this will be 13 minus 5 by comma, not comma, this will be plus I into square root of 169 is 13. So, this will be square root, this will be square root of 13 plus 5 by 2. Okay. So, this
Plasma membrane is composed
13 minus
lipids, protein,
write the bracket plus I into square root of 13 plus 5 is 18, root of 18 by 2. Okay. So, this will be plus
And
minus 8 by 2 is square root of plus I into 18 by 2 is square root of 9. So, this will be equal to what, friends? So, this will be square root of 4 is
integral
plus
protein and 3
plus I into square root of 9 is 3. So, this is the answer.
in proteins. So, these are 3 types of proteins which you will see in a plasma.
This one in the end,
Carbohydrate
so that it will be easy for the,
is glycolipids.
and you can
Glycolipids,
I into 3.
glycoproteins, plasma membrane. It is
Question.
with
I hope it is visible. So, let us move to the next one. So, the simple one. Here again, this is again a simple question.
and 40% of lipid.
You get a
Look into the diagram properly. Sugar.
imaginary part. That is wrong. Like I told you,
This is the labeling of sugar. Peripheral protein, integral protein.
so this is complex number that is given is z is equal to a plus ib, that is given is 3 plus 4i. Here the value of
Given by single.
and b is 4. So, z bar will be a minus ib. So, here the z bar will be equal to what? A is what? 3 minus I into what is b? B is 4. So, z bar will be this much.
Plasma membrane is given.
This was asked in March 23. Next question. Z1
Yes, 2 is a protein and
2 is
cholesterol.
Z1 minus Z2. I told you
Integral protein, right?
Thing.
And
right
1 is sugar, correct? And
with L part. Okay. So, this Z1
3
is
oil, correct?
okay. Z2 is given as 6 comma 3. So, friends,
And 2
minus Z2, I can write it as 2 comma, so 2 minus 6 comma minus 1 minus 3. That is what? This is real part, sub real part, minus 1 minus 3. That is imaginary part with imaginary part.
4 over which the expressions you have endoplasmic reticulum.
6 will be minus 4, minus 1 minus 3 will be minus 4. So, here the answer is Z1 minus Z2.
Involved in lipids and steroids.
You can write minus 4, okay, minus 4i, one and the same. This is
Wherein B is rough endoplasmic reticulum and
ordered pair itself. Okay, got it. So, friends, going forward, see, like I told you, they have asked questions based on multiplicative inverse also. So, see here, friends, in 2022 exam, they asked question on multiplicative inverse. The question that is given is
involved in the synthesis of protein. This is correct.
plus 4i. Z is
Question if we see
for this multiplicative inverse
directly given as an organelle and identify asking us to identify
B for this multiplicative inverse, that is Z inverse, can be written as
forming
a by a square plus b square, okay, plus I into minus b by
protein.
a square plus b square.
form of West.
minus b into
Think
or minus b by a square plus b square. So, if I substitute
where it
this here, so this will become what, friends? So, z inverse will be equal to a is what? A is 3 here, 3 by 3 square plus 4 square, plus into minus will be minus I into what is the value of is 4 by plus 4 square. So, z inverse, that is multiplicative inverse, will be equal to 3 by
in ribosome we have two types of ribosome.
9, 4 square is
80S and 70S ribosome. 80
by
is
3 square is 9,
right.
16. So, z inverse you will get it as 3 by 25 minus I into 4 by 25. Leave it as it is. So, z in
70S ribosome.
by 25 minus 4 by 25. This is the answer for this question. All right, friends, I hope it is clear. Simple question, just apply the formula. Look at this. They have told z is equal to cos theta comma sin theta, that is they have given it in the form of ordered pair. So, you have to find z minus 1 by z, that is 1 by z is.
Mitochondria also we find ribosomes, that is of 70S type inside,
So,
and on the rough endoplasmic reticulum we find 80S ribosome. Please make a note of it.
ordered pair.
Now, if you see over here,
So, z is
asking us to identify
A
S stands for segmentation coefficient A and B of a eukaryotic cell, where A is the larger subunit,
plus sin square theta. Okay.
it is the indirect way of measuring the particle.
Cos theta, a square plus b square is cos square theta plus sin square theta. Here it will be minus b by a square plus b square. Here b is what? Sin theta. So, this will be minus sin theta by cos square theta plus sin square theta. But we already
30 years, right?
square theta plus sin square theta is equal to what? Is equal to 1. So, this will become equal to z inverse will be equal to cos theta comma minus sin theta, because denominator
Mitochondria and nucleus.
z inverse you got it as cos theta minus sin theta, z is equal to cos theta comma sin theta. So, they are asking you to find z minus 1 by z.
That is outer membrane, then inner membrane which is folded in the form of
Z or z minus z inverse will be equal to, what is it? Z is real part with real
have
theta minus cos theta,
from chloroplast. If you see
sin theta, here minus sin theta minus sin theta, but already minus is there. So, minus to minus will become plus. So, this will become equal to 0 comma 2 sin theta. Okay. Z minus 1 by z will be equal to 0 comma
pay.
theta.
This
It fits question 0 comma 2 sin theta.
remember from the chloroplast.
That is, they are asking the value of.
See the questions based on this. He is asking us to,
Okay, I hope it is
if you
to all of you.
one here the this
Okay. So, let us move to the next question, friends. So, here they have given two sub questions. Write the multiplicative
option 1
playing complex. This is asked in 23 and also in 22. That is 2022 also 2023. So, that is
membrane of the chloroplast.
PYQs.
This is the
That's why we are solving the PYQs, or at least the themes will.
mitochondria.
That is multiplicative. That is a very important theme. Okay. So, they are given. They have given what?
Outer membrane.
One is Z is equal to 7.24.
C is the matrix.
Z inverse. Z inverse. Suppose Z is equal to A plus IB or A comma B. Suppose Z is equal to A comma B. Then Z inverse, like I told you, it will be equal to A by A
Is your correct option. Next.
minus B by plus B square. So, friends, what is the value of Z inverse here? So, Z inverse will be A is here
You
A square plus B square, 7 square plus 24, 7
you can
plus 24. Okay, 7 square plus 24, comma b
flagella
plus 24 by 7 square plus 24 square. So, this will become, friends, Z inverse will be equal to 7 by 7 square is 49 plus 24 square is 576, comma minus 24 again 49 plus 576. Okay. So, this will become equal to Z inverse is equal to 7 by 49 plus 576, 49 plus 24 square, how I wrote 576. See, you are all intermediate students, at least up to 30 the squares of the number should be in your tip of your hands. So, 49 plus 576 is 625.
They are what? They are the
625. This is the answer for first sub question. Second sub question.
So, if you see here, basically
That they have given sin theta cos theta, multiplicative inverse of sin theta cos theta. Here Z is they have given Z is equal to
of the, and if you
so whenever they give the question,
axonym, the sense
don't solve the
axonym, and if you do the transverse,
first there is
you will
formula also.
you carry.
Okay, even if it takes 30 seconds, no problem, just write down the formula. Okay, when you have written the formula for the first sub questions, no need to write it here. So, this will become equal to Z inverse will be equal to sin theta by a square plus b square, that is sin square theta
Radial spoke.
plus
How many radial spokes, ma? 9 radial spoke. Each radial spoke is having
cos theta. Minus b means it will become minus cos theta by sin square theta, here to put comma, okay, plus cos square theta. So, this will become Z inverse is equal to sin theta by 1 comma minus cos theta by 1. So, ultimately this will become Z inverse is equal to sin theta comma minus cos theta, friends. So, this is the answer question. Okay, I hope it is clear. Let us move to the next question.
flagella or see.
Write the following complex numbers in the form of a plus ib. Write the following complex numbers in the form of a plus ib. That is, first we have to do the algebra of the complex numbers, then we have to
Very important.
the form a plus ib. So, first question that
The
is given is
flagella movement will take place. Clear? You should keep this
di
very strongly, because many at times the questions are
4i. Okay, I told
arrangement in EAP set and NEET as well. Okay.
let us multiply. So, this can be written as 2 into 3 is 6, 6 into 4 is 8, 8i minus 3 into 3 is 9, 3i into 3, 3i into 3 is 9i, okay, plus into minus is minus, okay, 3 into 3, 3 4s are 12, 12 into I is I square, okay, 6 plus 8i minus 9i
Saying central sheet.
will be equal to minus I, okay, plus 12 square, minus 12 square, plus 12, I square the value is minus 1 like you know. So, this will be equal to 6 minus I, minus into minus is plus 12. So, this will be equal to what? 12 plus 6 is 18 minus I, okay, this is the value. Or you can write it as a plus ib form, means here I plus ib is equal to 18 plus I into minus 1. This is a plus ib form. This is a plus ib form. Please write many.
On to
That is the
have
next question.
here is your
The
correct.
and that they have given is 1 plus 2i whole cube. 1 plus 2i whole cube, that they have given as 1 plus 2i whole cube. Okay, 1 plus 2i whole cube they have given. This is of the form
The shapes of the chromosome is clearly visible in which place, beta?
a plus b whole cube is equal to a cube
4
plus b cube plus 3a square b plus 3ab square. Okay. So, let us substitute the values here for a and b. A is 1 and b is 2. So, this can be written as 1 cube is nothing but 1 itself, plus 2a cube is 2 cube is 8, 8 into I cube plus 3a square b. A square is nothing but 1, that is 1 square. So, 3 1 square b, b is nothing but 2i. So 3 into 1 into what it is 2i, okay, plus 3 into 1 into b square is 2i square, 2i square. So this value will become 1 plus I cube is nothing but into I square is nothing but how much, minus 1, minus 1 into I is minus I. So this will be equal to minus 8i, minus 8i. So 3 into 1 into 2i, this will be plus,
So the
3 2s are 6, 6i. This will be 3 into 2i square. 2i square is 2 square is 4, I square is I square itself. So this
acrocentric and metacentric we need to identify.
plus 6i plus 3 4s are 12 I square, I square. Okay. So this can be written as minus 8i plus 6i will be equal to minus 1 minus 2i. Okay. So I square is nothing but how much? I square is nothing but,
Yes.
I square is nothing but minus 1. So 12 plus 12 into minus 1. So this will become equal to 1 minus 2i plus, or plus into minus is minus 12. Minus 12 plus 1, it will be minus 11 minus 2i. Okay, minus 11
Option.
minus 2
So
to
we
minus
have done
minus 2i.
8
we have-
questions from the chapter.
A plus ib
Based on this, from each unit we will be having match the following assertion, reasoning.
into minus 2. Here A is minus 11 and B is minus 2.
Have
Done with this question. So this is how you have to express it in the form of A plus IB. Write the conjugate of the following complex numbers. So they have given first question, that is Z is 2 plus 5i. I have always told you when it comes to conjugate you should only change the signs of the imaginary part. So Z bar will become 2 minus. Next question. 18. Multiplicative inverse. Repeat this question. So you should be very clear with this concept. Simple concepts, but you have to be careful. So second question that they have given is equal to minus 4 plus 6i, friends. So what you should do for this question? Only imaginary part you have to change the sign. Don't touch the real part. Real part is minus 4. You keep it as it is. So minus 4 minus 6i, that's all. This is the answer. Let's move forward. Right. Okay. Write the conjugate of the following complex number. Okay. I'll write the question correctly. Here it is not visible clearly. So write the conjugate of the following complex number. So they have given the question, that is Z is equal to 5i divided by 7 plus I. This is the question. Okay, Z is equal to 5i plus 7i. Okay, 7 plus I. So always remember, friends, talk about complex numbers, you should always bring it to first A plus IB form. But is it in A plus IB form? No. Okay. To bring it to plus okay. Z is equal to divided by 7 plus I. Okay, numerator and denominator by conjugate of the denominator. Your conjugate of the denominator is what? Change only the sign of the imaginary part. So conjugate of 7 plus I is of the denominator with numerator and also the denominator. So this becomes what, friends? This will become 5i into 7 is 5i minus 5i into I is minus 5i square, 5i square divided by 7 plus I minus into 7 minus that a square. So this is 7 square minus I square. Okay, 7 square minus I square. So this will become 35I minus 5 into I square is minus 1. This will be 7 square is 49 minus I square is minus 1. So this will become, friends, 35I minus into minus is plus 5 divided by 49 minus into minus is plus 1, 49 plus 1. So this will become, friends, equal 5 plus I into 35. I have rearranged it. 49 plus 1 is 50. So here I can take 5 common. So this will become 5 into 1 plus I into 7 divided by 50. So this will become 5 ones are 5 tens are. So finally got as 1 plus 1 by 10 into 1 plus I into 7. So z bar will become what, friends? So z bar will become, that is conjugate of this will become 1 by 10 into 1 minus I into 7. That is, you have to change the sign of the imaginary part. So this is the answer. Okay. 1 7 by 10. 1 by 10 into 1 minus 7I by 10. 1 by same thing. 1 minus 7 by 1. The same. You can keep it as it is. Find the complex conjugate of the this number. Even if they are conjugate or same, don't get confused. So they have given.
No, last session tomorrow you continue with this, right? For this people is ready now. You keep continuing this. Initially we get one video, one review, two view.
2 minus 3I. All right. 3 plus
Not worry about that.
3I.
No problem, sir. We need to.
We have to do it consistent. The consistency is the most important.
8 into I plus into minus is 4 3s are 12 into I square. Okay.
Physics and chemistry also there, then it will be more good, sir.
Okay. Minus 12 into I square. I square is minus 1. So 6 minus I.
The time where people will be shifting from.
So plus 12. What? 18 minus I. So this will become 8. So this will become 18 minus I. Now write down the complex conjugate. 18 minus I. So complex conjugate with that is 8. So what is z bar equal to 18 plus I. Like I told you repeatedly in this class, the sign of the imaginary part. Okay, next question.
Desktop, camera remote.
ఈ ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ లో పెడితే బెటర్ అన్న ఫీలింగ్.
Ida.
2 will be equal to minus 3I. Okay. Now I will square on both sides. Square on.
ఓకే.
Charging at the point of the don't I get this again?
ఓకే.
This is the most important step of this question. Bringing 2 to this side and solving it. Okay. Otherwise, you can put the value of z here, square it, and you can put the value of z, multiply, and prove that it is equal to 0. But this is little tedious job. Instead of that, directly you can get it if you do it this way. Z minus 2 is equal to minus 3I. So if you square on both sides, what you will get? Z minus 2 whole square minus 3I whole square. Z minus 2 whole square is a minus b whole square, that is a square plus b square minus 2ab, that is z square, okay, plus 4 minus 2 to the 4z is equal to, this is 3 square is plus 9 minus 3 square is plus 9, I is I square, okay, I is I square. So this will become equal to z square plus 4 minus 4z, I square is minus 1, 9 into minus 1 is 9 into minus 1 this will be. So, z square is equal to z square plus minus 4z is equal to minus 9. So, if I bring it to LHS, this will be equal to, this implies this will be equal to z square minus 4z plus 4 plus 9 is equal to 0. So, that will be, this implies z square minus 4z, okay, this is not 42, this is 4z, okay, 4z will be equal to plus 9 plus 4, 4 will be equal to 13 is equal to 0. So, we have proved it. That is the answer, simple. So, bring 2 to the, again I am explaining, bring this 2 to the LHS, square on both sides and simplify it, directly you will get what is asked. Otherwise, if you put the value of z in that equation, then prove it is equal to 0, you can definitely get the answer, but it is little tedious and little time consuming. So, better do it this way, because this is very short answer question, you have to get the answer in less amount of time, do not make it tedious. Okay. Look at this question, friends. This is also very important question. This is asked in August 2022. So, they have given, I will write it here, I square, okay, I square, let me write it again. They have given I square plus I to the power of 4 plus I to the power of 6 plus up to 2n plus 1 terms. What is the value of this they are asking? So, one thing you must remember, 2n means you know that it is even, 2n plus 1 means it is odd. This is what? Odd number of terms, odd number of terms. 2n plus 1 means odd number of terms, okay, odd number of terms. So, here I have to consider only odd number of terms. So, I don't have to count up till 2n plus 1. They have given a hint, we have to consider only odd number of terms, that is 1, 2, 3, this is odd, like that you have to consider only odd number of terms. So, let me take this, I will take only these 3 terms, I square plus I square. Can I take only these 2? No, because why? This is even number of terms. So, I can take odd number of terms like 3, 5, 7, 9, something like that. Let me take I square plus I 4 up to I 6. Okay. I square is what? I square the value is minus 1. I to the power of 4 the value is nothing but what? I to the power of 4 the value is 1, or I can write it as I square to the power of 2. Okay. So, similarly I can write I to the power of 6 as I square to the power of 3. So, I square to the power of 3. So, this will be equal to, this implies minus 1 I square is minus 1 square, I square is minus 1 cube. So, this implies, or I can write it as equals, instead of implies I can write it as equals. And you have to write down in the exam, this is representing, the sequence is representing odd number of terms. So, we have taken this many number of terms. So, this will be minus 1 square is plus 1, minus 1 cube is minus 1. So, here plus 1 minus 1 cancels, the answer will be minus 1. The answer to this question, friends, is minus 1, very simple. Okay, suppose they give 2n, in the upcoming examination they may not give the same question, they may give 2n, that time you have to consider how many number of terms? Even number of terms. Okay, got it? Look at this, they have given z is equal to x plus iy and modulus of z is 1, find the locus of z they are asking, find the locus of z they are asking. So, z is equal to x plus iy and modulus of z I told you it is square root of a square plus b square if z is equal to a plus ib, if z is equal to x plus iy it is square root of x square plus y square. So, okay. So, they are telling modulus of z is 1. So, this means what? Modulus of z means modulus of z is equal to, this implies modulus of z is equal to root of x square plus y square is equal to 1. Okay. Root of x square plus y square is equal to 1. Suppose I do square on both sides, what will this become? Square on both sides, this will become root of x square plus y square is whole square is equal to 1 square. So, this will become root of x square plus y square to the whole square will become x square plus y square is equal to 1 square will become 1. So, this is nothing but what? This is equation of a circle with center at origin and radius is equal to 1. Okay. You must have studied in conics. Okay. Equation of a circle, or you must have studied in circle chapter itself. Equation of a circle with center at origin and radius is equal to 1. So, here the locus of z is circle. So, the answer to this question, the locus of z is, you have to write down, the locus of z is a circle. The locus of z is circle, very simple question. Look at this. They have told find the square root of the following complex number. Find the square root of the following complex number. I will give you 1 minute. I want you to, all of you to what? Recollect the formula of this one. Recollect the formula of this square root. Okay, friends. Few more questions left. So, when I said square root of a plus ib, okay, this is nothing but plus or minus, okay, within bracket under square root a square plus b square. Here it is 7 plus 24. So, here b is greater than 0, okay, b is greater than 0, a square plus b square plus a divided by 2, okay, plus I. Since b is greater than 0, this is plus I square root of under square root of a square plus b square, okay, minus a divided by 2. Okay, here a is nothing but equal to 7, b is nothing but equal to 24. So, square root of 7 plus 24i, okay, is equal to plus or minus square root of, okay, square root of again under square root of 7 square plus 24 square plus 7, a is 7 divided by 2 plus I into square root of again square root of 7 square plus 24 square minus 7 divided by 2. So, this will be equal to what, friends? Plus or minus square root of 7 square is 49 and square root of 24 is 576. Okay. So, this will become equal to square root of again square root of 576 plus 49 is 625, okay, plus 7 divided by 2 plus I into square root of again this will be the same number square root of 625 minus 7 divided by 2 plus or minus is outside. So, this will be equal to plus or minus square root of 625 is what? Square root of 625 is 25. 25 square is 625. So, here I have to write square root of 25 plus 7 divided by 2 plus I into square root of 25 minus 7 divided by 2. So, this value will be equal to plus or minus 25 plus 7 is 25 plus 7 is what? 32. 32 divided by 2 plus I into square root of 25 minus 7. 25 minus 7 is what, friends? 25 minus 7 is 18. So, you can write it as 18 divided by 2. So, this value will be equal to 32 by 2. 32 by 2 will be 16. So, 32 by 2 will be 16. So, I can write here square root of 16 plus I into 18 by 2 will be 9, square root of 9. Okay, square root of 9. So, this value will be equal to what? Square root of 16 is what? 4. This will be 4 plus I into square root of 9 is 3. So, this is the answer, friends. So, square root of 7 plus 24i is equal to this much. This is the answer. Got it, friends? Few more questions that are asked in the PYQs we will be solving. So, if z1 is equal to minus 1 and z2 is equal to minus I, then find what? Argument of z1, z2. So, one thing you must understand, friends, when I say argument of z1, z2, it is nothing but it is understood that you have to find Z1 plus Z2. When I say argument of Z1 by Z2, it is understood that you have to find Z1 minus Z2. So, the multiplication transcends into addition and division transcends into subtraction. Division transcends into subtraction. So, Z1 is here, Z1 is what? Minus 1, Z2 is minus I. So, argument of Z1, Z2 here is Z1 plus Z2, or argument of Z1, Z2, Z1 dot Z2. Here Z1 is what, friends? Z1 is minus 1 and Z2 is minus I. So, what is the answer, friends? Minus 1 minus I. Minus 1 minus I. But one thing you must understand, here Z1 is equal to minus 1 means, in such questions, instead of doing directly like this, you can also find, instead of doing directly like this, you can solve it using this. You can convert it into what? Modulus amplitude form or into polar form. Better convert it into polar form. Then it will be easy to get the answer. Either first only you add it, then convert, or initially you convert, then add it. Both are one and the same, but I suggest first you convert, then you add it. So, here what they have given? Here Z1 is given as minus 1. So, what I can do? Z1 is given as minus 1, Z1 I can write it as minus 1 plus I into 0, minus 1 plus I into 0. Okay. So, here I can write it as here r into cos theta plus sin theta, in that form I have to write. Here r is nothing but equal to 1, because square root of 1 is, square root of 1 square is nothing but 1 itself. So, when will you get minus 1 for cos? If it is cos pi. When will you get 0 for sin? When it is sin pi. So, Z1 will be equal to, argument of Z1 will be equal to cos pi plus I into sin pi. Similarly, when I have to get Z2, Z2 is given as what? Minus I. So, this can be written as 0 plus I into minus 1. When will I get 0 for cos? I can write it as cos pi by 2. So, this will be argument of Z2 can be written as, argument of Z2 can be written as cos pi by 2, okay, cos pi by 2 minus I into sin pi by 2, cos pi by 2 minus I into sin pi by 2, cos pi by 2 minus I into sin pi by 2, or you can instead of, but we want it in the form of cos pi, I mean cos theta plus sin theta. Polar coordinate form is in the form of r into cos theta plus sin theta, but it is not in the form of cos theta minus sin theta. So, instead of writing pi by 2, you can take it as minus pi by 2. Cos minus pi by 2 plus sin minus pi by 2. Cos of any pi by 2 will be plus or minus will be equal to 0. Sin of minus pi by 2 will be equal to what? Minus 1. Now, you have to find out argument of Z1, Z2. Argument of Z1, Z2. Argument of Z1, Z2, I told you it is what? Z1 plus Z2. Argument of Z1 plus argument of Z2. So, argument of Z1 plus argument of Z2. So, this will be not argument, this will be just Z1. This will be Z1. This will also be Z2, that is all. So, argument of z1 we have to write it as argument of z1, you have to just write the angle. Okay, argument of z1 will be equal to what? Pi. Similarly, argument of z2 will be equal to minus pi by 2. Argument of z1 z2 will be equal to what? Argument of z1 plus argument of z2. So that will be equal to argument of z1 z2, that will be equal to pi minus pi by 2. So the answer is pi by 2, friends. So the answer to this question is pi by 2. So first find z1 and z2 in polar form, and then find argument of z1, that is the angle, that is theta, which I told initially while I was explaining the concept. Then you find argument of z2. Okay, then argument of z1 z2 is argument of z1 plus argument of z2. If you add those two, you will get it as, here you got it as pi by 2. Okay, I hope it is clear. You can have a look at the screen. So last, I think 1 or 2 questions, that's it. We'll finish it off. So complex numbers, all the very short answer questions which has been asked in the last 5 years, which have been repeated multiple times, we have solved. So they have given z1 is equal to minus 1, z2 is equal to I, then find argument of z1 z2. Okay, so first z1 is given as minus 1. So I can write this as what, friends? I can write this as what? Minus 1 plus I into 0. Okay, minus 1 plus I into 0. Cos, we will get it as minus 1 when? Cos of what will be what will give you minus 1? Cos of what will give you minus 1? Cos of what will give you minus 1? All of you think. Cos of what will give you minus 1? So I can write this as cos pi is minus 1 and sin pi is 0. Okay, sin of any pi is 0, sin of n pi is 0, sin of 1 pi, sin of 2 pi, sin of 5 pi, any pi is 0. Cos of what? Odd pi is minus 1. See here. So this can be written as z1 can be written as, here also modulus, you need not write r because r is 1 here also. So you can write it as r cos theta plus sin theta can be written as cos of pi plus I into sin pi. So argument of z1 is the theta. Here the theta value is what? Here the theta value is pi. Okay. Similarly, second one, see here, z2 can be written as 0 plus I. 0 plus I means 0 plus 1 pi. So when I have to get 0, cos should be equal to pi by 2. So this z2 can be written as cos pi by 2. Okay, this is cos pi by 2 plus I into sin pi by 2. Okay, so argument of z2 will be equal to pi by 2. Argument of z2 will be equal to pi by 2. Argument of z2 will be equal to pi by 2. So we have to find out argument of z1 by z2. Argument of z1 by z2 is nothing but equal to what? Argument of z1 minus argument of z2. So that is equal to what? That is equal to argument of z1 is what? Argument of z1 is pi, argument of z2 is pi by 2. So argument of z1 by z2 is equal to pi minus pi by 2 is pi by 2. Here the correct answer is pi by 2, friends. Here the correct answer is pi by 2. So one more question, last question we will be solving. Okay. So they are asking you to find the modulus amplitude form. Modulus amplitude form. Similar to this only. Okay. Express the complex number in the modulus amplitude form. That is, they have given z is equal to minus 1 minus I root 3. Here z is equal to a plus ib. Okay. So a is equal to what? A is equal to minus 1 and b is equal to minus root 3. So z is equal to a plus ib in modulus amplitude form is, I can write it as r into cos theta plus I sin theta, r into cos theta plus I sin theta. What is the value of r? That is amplitude you have to find out, that is root of a square plus b square. That is what? A is what here friends? A is minus 1 whole square, minus 1 whole square is 1 itself, 1 square plus root 3 whole square. So that will be equal to square root of 1 plus root 3 whole square is 3. Root 3 whole square is root 3 into root 3, that is 3. So that will be equal to square root of 4, that is equal to 2. Got it? So the value of r is 2, we got it as 2. Now we have to find out the value of cos theta plus I sin theta. So for that, what you have to do? See here friends, we are getting this A is in negative and B, imaginary part is also in negative. So it is which quadrant? It is coming to third quadrant. Okay, it is coming to third quadrant. So first let us find out tan value. So first let us find out tan value. Tan value of this is, tan theta of this is sin theta by cos theta. Here sin theta value is coming as root 3. Okay, root 3 by 2, and cos theta value is coming as minus 1 by 2. Okay, minus 1 by 2. So tan theta value will be root 3 by 1. Root 3 by 2 divided by 1 by 2. 2 will cancel. You will get tan theta is root 3 by 1. Okay, you will get the value of tan theta as root 3 by 1. So theta is lying in which quadrant? Like I told, it is lying in third quadrant. Theta is lying in third quadrant. Okay. Actually, even without finding tan theta, you can find out. Okay. Let us no need to go up to tan theta. Let us leave it. Like I told, first let us find cos theta. Cos theta is equal to what? Cos theta is equal to a by root of a square plus b square. A root of a square plus b square is nothing but r. Here a is 1 minus 1. Minus 1 by what is root of a square plus b square, that is equal to 2. Okay. Sin theta is what? Sin theta is what? Root 3 by what? Root 3 by 2 minus root 3 by 2. Okay. So here theta is coming negative. Okay. Cos theta and sin theta will be negative only in the third quadrant, because we know that ASTC rule, right? ASTC rule. ASTC means what? All the trigonometric ratios will be positive in first quadrant. Okay. Only sine and cosec, its inverse, will be positive in second quadrant. Third quadrant, tan and cot, and fourth quadrant, cos and secant are positive. But here we are getting both sine and cos negative, that is theta is lying in third quadrant. Theta is lying in third quadrant, and when we see cos theta is minus 1 by 2 and sin theta is minus root 3 by 2. When theta is lying in third quadrant, so theta can be written as root 3 by 2 you will get for which value? Sin you will get root 3 by 2 for which value? You will get it for what? 60 degree. You will get it for sin 60 is root 3 by 2. Cos you will get 1 by 2 for which value? You will get it for 60 degree. But here you are getting for minus value, that is cos theta is minus 1 by 2, sin theta is minus root 3 by 2. So what I should do? I should write pi minus pi by 3. So I will get this as what? 3 pi minus pi, that is what? 3 pi minus pi, that is pi by 3 plus pi minus pi plus pi by 3 minus pi plus pi by 3. This should be minus pi plus pi by 3. So this will be minus 3 pi plus pi. So it is minus 2 pi by 3. So the value of theta is minus 2 pi by 3. So now you can write it in polar form. The given complex number can be written in polar form now. So this can be written as, what is the value, that what is the thing that they have expressed the complex number in modulus amplitude form. So this can be written as minus 1 minus I root 3 can be written as, minus 1 minus I root 3 can be written as what? R into cos theta plus sin theta. R, the value of R is 2 into what is cos theta? Cos theta is minus 2 pi by 3, okay, plus I into sin theta, sine of minus 2 pi by 3. Okay. This is the modulus amplitude form of minus I root 3. Okay. So, we solved the questions of last 5 years and also the questions which are repeated. So, when it comes to complex numbers, I hope the session was useful. Please practice this question again. Okay. If you have any doubt, please post in the comment sections. So, tomorrow we will be solving the second chapter, that is De Moivre's theorem. Alright friends, thank you so much. We will meet in tomorrow's session. Take care.